You can feel the tension building. Wayne Midden is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
Patience is key in these early moments, John. But I have a feeling Wayne Midden is going to make it count.
It's all about strategy in these early moments. Taihan van Ruyen is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right. This is where the mental game comes into play. Enzo van den Heever is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run. The adrenaline is pumping. Warren Dodd is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
It looks like Taihan van Ruyen is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. Ernest Heather is on their out lap. As Ernest Heather completes their out lap, they will be HPOING. They have given themselves enough space on track to fully attack for their first flying lap. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Joost Haystack is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying. That's the outlap done for Joost Haystack. They'll now look to focus on their first flying lap. Wow, look at Dould Lambert go. They're really turning on the jets in this qualifying session.
It's certainly exciting to watch. But let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
It's clear that Warren Dodd is on a mission in this qualifying session. They're pushing their car to the limit. This is where the mental game comes into play. Joost Haystack is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
Ernest Heather is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
That's right, it's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Taihan Van Ruyen looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Richard Reshka is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
They'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Looks like Duald Lambert is channeling their inner Schumacher today. They're absolutely flying out there.
It's amazing what a little bit of adrenaline and a lot of horsepower can do, right, John? Duald Lambert is just showing us all what they're made of.
It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Justin is nailing both.
Yes, they are. It takes a special kind of driver to thrive under this kind of pressure.
Wayne Midden looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Taihan Van Ruyen is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid. Joost Haystack is on their first flying lap. This is what it's all about. Warren Dodd is putting on a show. Warren Dodd has completed their outlap. Richard Reshka has secured a respectable fifth in the qualifying session. Can they capitalize on this position and use it as a launching pad for a stronger race performance? Ernest Heather has positioned themselves well in 6th during qualifying. The challenge: Ernest Heather has some work to do, as that 152.919 is only good enough for 6th. Duald Lambert has put in a great effort and currently holds 2nd. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position? What a performance from Warren Dodd. They currently occupy 8th on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favorable starting spot?
You're spot on, John. Warren Dodd's current position.
Warren Dodd has just completed that lap in 153.722. Their best lap so far is 153.722. Putting them in P8. Will they be able to hold onto that spot? It's an impressive showing by Ernest Heather, currently in 6th. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher? Ernest Heather has some work to do as that 152.593 is only good enough for 6th. Currently in 4th, Wayne Mitten will be happy having put themselves into 4th in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
A strong showing from Warren Dodd as they currently sit in 9th. With the session drawing to a close, they'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve.
I completely agree, John. Warren Dodd has positioned themselves impressively in 9th. However, it's crucial for them to keep pushing to potentially improve their starting position.
Impressive work from Enzo van den Heever, who has claimed 10th on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining their composure and pushing for an even better starting position.
You're absolutely right, John. Enzo van den Heever's current position of 10th reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize on this starting position.
Annie, the drivers are ready. Let the racing begin?
Yes, John, let the racing begin.
Taihan van Ruyen will have the best seat in the house starting from pole position. We're seeing dueled Lambert in the second spot.
Another good start for the South African driver.
Jeevan Davis will lead the way from pole position.
The pressure's on now. Can he handle the heat and stay ahead of the pack?
The green light signals the beginning of an epic race. As the drivers jostle for position, it's all about keeping their cool under pressure.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race.
There are a few drivers with a point to prove, and a few with some grudges to bear. Will we see a clean race today?
The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one.
What a beautiful day for racing here at East London Grand Prix Circuit. This is going to be good to watch.
The racing is normally closely fought here at East London Grand Prix Circuit. I think we are in for a cracking race.
I'm looking forward to this one, John, and we'll see a return to form for Wayne Midden in this outing in South Africa.
The pressure is on whilst the field is bunched. Who can keep their cool and take advantage?
All the drivers will be jostling for the best position, John. Some of them may not make it to the second lap in one piece.
Hold up, breaking info. And Enzo van den Heever in 8th is coming into the pits, and that might be to serve a penalty. Hold on to your hats, folks. Tijhan van Rooyen is right on the heels of Richard Reschke, and we're in for a wild ride.
The only thing closer than Tijhan van Rooyen to Richard Reschke right now is the paint on their cars. Talk about a close encounter.
The tension is high. These drivers are showing tremendous respect for each other while going all out. It's a masterclass in clean, hard racing. Disappointing for Joost Haystack, they now find themselves in 6th.
Yes, but there's still plenty of race left. Joost Haystack needs to stay calm and focused, and make their move when the time is right.
A great moment for Joost Haystack, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
That's what we like to see. Joost Haystack is really showing their class today.
It's a battle of wills out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. The tension is high. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
If Tijhan van Rooyen gets any closer, they might as well ask Richard Reschke for a piggyback ride.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Ernest Heather trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Warren Dodd. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Ernest Heather close in enough to mount a challenge? The gap between Ernest Heather and Warren Dodd is widening. It's now up to 0.8 seconds.
Ernest Heather needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way. If they can close the gap down, they may be able to bring the fight to Warren Dodd.
The race is heating up as Justin in 7th closes in on Joost Haystack. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
Absolutely. Justin in 7th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
It looks like Ernest Heather is pushing hard to catch up to Warren Dodd. The gap is over a second, but Ernest Heather is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Warren Dodd? The best laid plans of mice and men, Annie, but it's certainly not going to plan for Ernest Heather right now as they are struggling to keep up with Warren Dodd. You know, Annie, during a long race like this, how easy is it for a driver to experience a lapse in concentration?
It can be quite easy, John. With so many factors to consider and the intense focus required, even the most experienced drivers can have a momentary lapse. That's why mental training and staying in the zone are so important.
The crowd is on tender hooks as Ernest Heather in fifth chases after Warren Dodd. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Ernest Heather find a way to catch up? It's not going to plan for Ernest Heather. They are still behind Warren Dodd and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. Taihan van Ruyen has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Richard Reschke. I expect their only hope at this point is that Richard Reschke makes an error. The tension is building as Ernest Heather trails behind Warren Dodd. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Warren Dodd hold on, or will Ernest Heather be able to close them down? Ernest Heather is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Warren Dodd at the moment.
It's not over yet, but Ernest Heather needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Warren Dodd.
The gap between Taihan van Ruyen in third and Richard Reschke remains over a second, but Taihan van Ruyen is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 7 minutes? The gap between Taihan van Ruyen and Richard Reschke is growing. It's now up to 1.0 seconds.
It's not ideal for Taihan van Ruyen, but they can still turn this around. They need to focus on their own driving and not let the gap get any bigger.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Ernest Heather, who is currently in P5. But Warren Dodd is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Ernest Heather.
It's going to be tough for Ernest Heather, as Warren Dodd seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Ernest Heather pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
The gap between Richard Reschke and Taihan van Ruyen is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Richard Reschke to even allow Taihan van Ruyen to get a look in. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Ernest Heather will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Warren Dodd is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Ernest Heather in P5 doing everything they can to catch up.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect, but let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned games.
It's not looking good for Warren Dodd. They're still behind Ernest Heather and the gap is increasing. They're gonna need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around. Well, it doesn't look like Taihan van Ruyen is going to be much of a threat to anyone soon, let alone Richard Reschke. The battle for 4 is heating up as Ernest Heather tries to catch Warren Dodd in P4. The gap between Ernest Heather and Warren Dodd is getting smaller. The race is heating up as Taihan van Ruyen in third closes in on Richard Reschke. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
Indeed, the tension is high as Taihan van Ruyen tries to reel in Richard Reshka. But Richard Reshka is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Taihan van Ruyen find some extra pace to bring the fight to Richard Reshka?
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
The chase between Ernest Heather and Warren Dodd is like a high-speed game of tag only. The stakes are much higher.
Looking at the lap times, Ernest Heather is not on pace with Warren Dodd. Can they turn it around?
It will be interesting to see if Warren Dodd can keep outpacing Ernest Heather.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Taihan van Ruyen trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Richard Reshka. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
This is where experience comes into play. Richard Reshka has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Taihan van Ruyen is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
This is where the race gets really interesting. Warren Dodd is closing in on Ernest Heather.
Who will be able to maintain their pace and come out on top?
The gap between Warren Dodd and Ernest Heather is widening. It's now up to 0.4 seconds.
This is where the mental toughness of Warren Dodd comes into play. They need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way.
Tactics are clearly going to play an important part in this race.
They are gonna need to look after their tires and will want to keep something in them for the crucial latter stages, as their tires wear and fuel levels deplete and the handling changes.
And don't forget the track grip increases as more rubber gets laid down.
Indeed, the conditions are constantly changing and the drivers need to adapt, otherwise it can cost crucial time and jeopardize their position.
This is what it's all about, folks. Warren Dodd is in hot pursuit of Ernest Heather, who's just trying to stay ahead.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them the race.
Warren Dodd is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. That won't be ideal for Ernest Heather.
Ernest Heather is not going to be happy about that.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Taihan van Ruyen, as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
Anything can happen yet, and it usually does. I've certainly seen drivers come back from worse.
Taihan van Ruyen is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Richard Reshka to 1.0 seconds. The crowd is on tender hooks as Joost Haystack in 6th chases after Ernest Heather. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Joost Haystack find a way to catch up? The best laid plans of mice and men, Annie, but it's certainly not going to plan for Joost Haystack right now, as they are struggling to keep up with Ernest Heather. I'm curious, Annie, can you tell us about any pre-race rituals you had when you were racing?
Of course, John. Before every race, I would listen to a specific playlist of songs to help me get in the zone. I also had a lucky pair of socks that I would wear during races. It may sound silly, but those little rituals helped me feel prepared and focused.
The tension is building as Joost Haystack trails behind Ernest Heather. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Ernest Heather hold on, or will Joost Haystack be able to close them down?
Absolutely. Joost Haystack in 6th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
The gap between Tijhan van Ruyen in 3rd and Richard Reschke remains over a second, but Tijhan van Ruyen is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 1 minute? This is where the true champions shine, and Dould Lambert is certainly showing their class in the final sector.
They'll be the ones celebrating at the finish line.
It's all over. Dould Lambert has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now. Richard Reschke never gave up. They drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish. Excellent focus from Tijhan van Ruyen to secure a fantastic third place on the podium.
Fantastic result.
With Warren Dodd, Ernest Heather, Joost Haystack, and Justin in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Wayne Midden and Peter Geldenhuys brings home 8th and 9th. Coming in 10th we have Enzo van den Heever. Eleventh is Jeevan Davis. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at East London Grand Prix circuit, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The drivers are looking focused out there on the grid. I'm looking forward to this one, John.
Starting in pole position gives Enzo van den Heever a clear advantage over the rest of the field. The lights are off. It's pedal to the metal time.
Maintaining composure is essential in this high-stakes environment. The ability to react and adapt will be the key to success.
I can't wait to see how this race will play out.
Let's hope they all brought their A games today.
The drivers are jockeying for position. Justin will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position. As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Simspeed Motorsports for making this all possible. Heroes one and all. It's like Richard Reshka had a pair of wings tucked away, because they've soared up the leaderboard in the blink of an eye. If this were a game of musical chairs, Enzo van den Heever just lost their seat, dropping positions right from the start.
They have definitely given themselves more to do, but it's not game over just yet. I'm sure Enzo van den Heever can make a comeback from this.
Was Wayne Midden trying to give their rivals a head start? They're already behind from the get-go. Oh, this is getting intense. Ernest Heather is just a few car lengths behind Jeevan Davis. It's a solid performance from Ernest Heather at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them. It looks like Tijhan van Rooyen is pushing hard to catch up to Peter Geldenhuys. The gap is over a second, but Tijhan van Rooyen is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Peter Geldenhuys? Jeevan Davis has the pedal to the metal chasing Ernest Heather. Tijhan van Rooyen is on a mission, chasing Peter Geldenhuys, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Tijhan van Rooyen should use slipstreaming to their advantage and close the gap to Peter Geldenhuys.
Every move counts now as Jeevan Davis works to reel in Ernest Heather and overtake for P6.
The tension between Jeevan Davis and Ernest Heather is palpable as they battle for P6. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Wayne Midden will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
That's right, Wayne Midden in 10th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Justin is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Jeevan Davis trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Ernest Heather. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Jeevan Davis close in enough to mount a challenge?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Ernest Heather is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Jeevan Davis in P7 doing everything they can to catch up.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Wayne Midden trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Justin. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Wayne Midden in 10th determined to catch up. But we know Justin isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Wayne Midden is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
The crowd is on tender hooks as Dewald Lambert in third chases after Peter Geldenhuys. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Dewald Lambert find a way to catch up? It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Wayne Midden, who is currently in P10. But Justin is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Wayne Midden. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
If Peter Geldenhuys gets any closer to Dewald Lambert, they'll need to start sending out wedding invitations.
It's not going to plan for Peter Geldenhuys. They're still behind Dewald Lambert and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
Ernest Heather is running 6th. They're trying to catch Enzo van den Heever.
The gap between them is just over 0.3 seconds. Can Ernest Heather close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The tension is building as Wayne Midden trails behind Justin. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Justin hold on, or will Wayne Midden be able to close them down?
It's going to be tough for Wayne Midden, as Justin seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Wayne Midden pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Look at that. Dewald Lambert is hot on the tail of Tijhan van Ruyen.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Dewald Lambert needs to stay patient and wait for Tijhan van Ruyen to make a mistake.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Tijhan van Ruyen is breathing down the neck of Dewald Lambert, not giving them any room to relax. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Tijhan van Ruyen gaining places and Dewald Lambert losing them. Oh, this is getting intense. Dewald Lambert is just behind Tijhan van Ruyen. It's looking good for Dewald Lambert, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Tijhan van Ruyen. The adrenaline is pumping as Tijhan van Ruyen gets within striking distance of Dewald Lambert in their race for first.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Taihan van Ruyen is taking that advice to heart today.
The action is non-stop as Peter Geldenhuys shadows Richard Reschke through every twist and turn, determined to claim third. The gap between Warren Dodd in 7th and Jeevan Davis remains over a second, but Warren Dodd is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 5 minutes? The race is heating up as Wayne Midden in 9th closes in on Justin. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. The pursuit is on. Warren Dodd is closing the gap on Jeevan Davis, determined to claim P6.
It's a game of strategy now as Warren Dodd hunts down Jeevan Davis. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
What a move. Warren Dodd has moved up to 6th.
Yes, Warren Dodd is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
It may seem like Justin is far behind, but Jeevan Davis can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Justin an opening to catch up. Things are heating up as Justin tries to close the gap to Jeevan Davis.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Who will have the speed and skill to come out on top?
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Wayne Midden trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Justin. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Wayne Midden close in enough to mount a challenge? Looks like Taihan van Ruyen is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
Wow, Justin is really pushing hard to catch up to Jeevan Davis. There's blood in the water for 7th place. It's a battle of wills out there, with Wayne Midden trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Justin. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race? Taihan van Ruyen could be looking for a way up the inside of Richard Reschke.
If you're enjoying the racing, please remember to like and subscribe.
Superb driving from Taihan van Ruyen, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Amazing stuff, focus and precision, what it's all about.
A setback for Taihan van Ruyen, who has just been passed. The pressure is on for Wayne Midden as they try to catch up to Justin. This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Wayne Midden is right behind Jeevan Davis, keeping the pressure on for 7th place. And Wayne Midden has just won the place from Jeevan Davis. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Jeevan Davis is chasing Wayne Midden in P7. Taihan van Ruyen is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Richard Reschke at the moment. In your experience, Annie, What was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, John, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
This is a thrilling battle as Tijhan van Rooyen edges closer to Richard Reschke in their fight for P2. Good news for Tijhan van Rooyen, the gap to Richard Reschke has decreased. It's now down to 0.3 seconds. The drivers have been working hard to come up with the perfect race strategy. They've been looking at the weather, the track conditions and the performance of their cars.
Now it's time to put that strategy into action and see if it pays off.
It's a close race between Tijhan van Rooyen and Richard Reschke in second.
If Tijhan van Rooyen isn't careful, they might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine, and trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
And wait! Looks like that's a mistake from Enzo van den Heever. This could be costly. The battle for 2 is heating up as Tijhan van Rooyen tries to catch Richard Reschke in P2.
This is where every inch counts. Tijhan van Rooyen is pushing hard to close the gap on Richard Reschke. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
Dewald Lambert is on fire in the last sector. The leader has just finished the race. A fantastic result for Dewald Lambert. What a fantastic race from Richard Reschke, who brings it home in second place. Well done to Tijhan van Rooyen for securing third place on the podium.
Impressive driving to secure that spot.
Peter Geldenhuys, Ernest Heather, Warren Dodd, and Wayne Midden take 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Taking 8th and 9th is Justin and Enzo van den Heever.